Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. This is the video where I will show you a fun fold and you get to make it and be entered into a challenge. But Josh and I are actually on the road, so we are in a hotel in South Dakota, and we thought we'd have him pop on here and say hi. So I'm getting everything loaded so I can make sure that y'all are coming in here. Whoops. Sound on my iPad. Okay, there we go. I see some people coming in. So welcome to Fun Fold Friday. So, so many of you have been asking since I got married if you could meet my husband. And he's graciously agreed to say hi today. And you guys can even ask him some questions. So if there's anything that you're wondering about him, you can ask. He'll even come back at the end of the video to answer questions if needed. But actually, I want to say, after I asked him to be on this video, we got to talking more, and he actually suggested that he come on these videos like twice a month, and I show him how to make the fun fold. So we'll see what happens.
Doesn't that sound fun?
So Josh is off work on Fridays, and so this could work out. We'll see what happens. So anyways,
Good morning.
This is Josh. Hello you guys. Hi Jean and Vesta, Diana, Ethel. Welcome everybody who's coming in here today. Yes, Patricia, he is real. He does
real
exist.
And in person.
Yep, he does exist. So, anyways, welcome to Fun Fold Friday. So, I'm going to actually go ahead and put my camera down and get started. I'm on an old school tripod like I used to use when I first started my Facebook Lives. So I haven't used it in years. So we're going to see how this goes. It's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live on the road. Okay, so we're going to put this down. And if you guys do ask anything about Josh, we will answer them at the end of the video. But, okay. So I am going to, we'll see, I'm looking to see what my space is that I'm working with here. All right, so those got to go so you guys can see the card. First I'll show you the bundle. The Holiday Inn, we're at a Holiday Inn in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and they have this amazing light. I kind of want to see if it'll fit in my suitcase. It's so great. You guys see how great this lighting is here? It's because of the lamp that is in this hotel room. It's pretty amazing. So, okay, I'm going to be using the Crafting With You bundle, and I think I've only used this one time before, but it's such a fun new bundle that is in the annual catalog. Excuse me, and it has a bunch of different crafts, but what I really like, you've got the stamping, cut, and emboss machine, which we're going to use here today, but if you wanted to send to somebody who's like an artist or like sewing or knitting / crocheting type stuff, you've got all of that. I love this one, Sending You a Handmade Hug. And then there's all sorts of dies that go with it too. Not just to cut out these images, but also to cut out other ones. So like this right here is the paper trimmer. You've got paper snips. You've got a cross stitch hoop here. There's the little thread things, which you could actually cut these out and then wind actual like baker's twine around your cardstock. And that would look really cute for like a spool of thread. So anyways, there's lots of options here. You got some buttons and lots of fun things. There's also this die right here, which is actually what looks like string. So it can be cut out in colors and put on your spools of thread. So anyways, lots of fun options in this, this bundle. So we're going to use it today for the fun fold. Okay, so today's fun fold is going to be this right here. And it's just a little flap card, okay? You see that? So it just has a little flap. So we're going to make this. Now, the point of Fun Fold Fridays is I just want to encourage you guys to craft. And sometimes I know it's hard to come up with inspiration for what to do for a card. And so Fun Fold Friday is a way for me to teach you a new option for you. You can make your own version of this card, post it over in the community group, and you'll be entered to win a prize. So that's what's really fun. So, oh, Holly, I forgot that you're in Sioux Falls. That's very fun. Yeah, we're in the Holiday Inn on the south side of town. So, and we'll be leaving right after this video. We will be heading over to Rapid City, which is where my dad and my brother live. Okay, so I will tell you, because I'm traveling, I have pre-cut everything. I'm still going to walk you through the measurements, but everything is pre-cut because I was paranoid about forgetting something. So I prepped ahead of time. Okay, so my boho blue is what I'm featuring today. And this first piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because we want the end result card to be a normal card size. So this is a standard card size. So then our basic white is just 1/4 inch smaller. So it's 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4, okay? And then for our flap, we're going to use a piece of basic white, and I cut my flap to be 1 3/4 by 4 1/2. So 1 3/4 by 4 1/2, and we scored it at 4 inches. So you're going to end up with a little 1/2 inch flap right here. So 1 3/4 by 4 1/2, and then you score it at 4 inches, okay? So we're going to take this and we're going to add a little adhesive just to the flap. Just like that. And then I'm going to decide where on my white paper do I want my flap to be. And I actually, you know what? I think before I stick my flap on, I'm going to stamp because that way I know exactly how far over I need to put my flap. I'm probably going to do it right about here, but let's make sure that our words will fit. So I'm going to grab my boho blue ink, and I've got Life is Better When You're Crafting, and we're going to stamp that. Actually, I think I want it on this side. We're going to stamp this over here. And I just want to make sure, because this is kind of a wide stamp, I want to make sure I have enough room for it to fit. So that's why I decided to pause on putting my flap on. And I'm glad I did anyways, because I was about to put my flap on backwards, or on the opposite side of where I wanted it. Okay, so now that I have that done, I can set my flap here and I can tape it down. Because remember, we've got adhesive back here on that back flap, okay? So then we'll take this whole thing and we will adhere it to our boho blue mat. I can tell I left my paper in the car and it was humid back home because my paper is a little bit curled. So it'll flatten out, but I can just tell that I left it in a humid car. Okay, so we've got our flap there. Now I'm going to actually add some other things here. I've got the little heart stamp. So I'm going to add a heart over here. And then we're also going to take a piece of scrap paper. You can see I've already cut out of it, but we're going to use the other side. And we're going to use the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I think I can fit it on this piece. Yeah, we'll just kind of angle it. So we're just going to put that machine in here. And you can see it has some detailing through it. We'll close this up. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, as long as I've got this here, let's grab our dies. We're going to grab the one for the embossing machine. Oh, actually, you know what? It just wants to come out right there. So this is the embossing machine die. And I brought my little baby embossing folder, Baby Boss, we'll call it. And plates here. Because you guys know I'm not a huge fan of fussy cutting. So even though it takes up a little bit more room. It's so worth it to travel with your baby boss. As long as you're using smaller dies, the baby boss works great for on the road. There we go. Ooh. So if we can grab that, don't want that die to move before it catches. Okay, so we'll see. What I love about this, if you haven't seen it, is that these sides, whoops, that's kind of loud. The sides fold up just like this. And so, makes it easy to travel with. Okay, so we'll take this off of here. And see, oh, and look at that. It doesn't even really look like it moved. It's pretty well centered, if I can pick it up off the table. So here's our little cut and emboss machine. I'm just gonna trim it a tiny bit over here just because I like my borders to be even. And it looks like it got a little off. Now, the way to prevent this would be to use some washi tape or some of the masking paper or even just a Post-it note to hold your die in place. And then that way you wouldn't have that issue. But also it's not the end of the world to have to do a tiny little bit of fussy cutting. Okay, I'm just gonna set this back in here. We don't want to donate our dies to the hotel, so we're gonna make sure we take those all home with us. Okay, so I've got my little guy. So we're gonna bring back this card. Now we need our designer series paper. So I am using the In Color embossing, the In Color designer series paper. It's got the little hash marks, I guess, on the back, and then the hearts, and it ties in really well with the heart stamp that I'm using here. So this piece is 1.5 by 3 3/4. So 1.5 by 3 3/4. We're just gonna stick that here on the flap. There we go. And then we need a circle. So because I didn't want to bring my big machine, I actually embossed this when I was at home. So this is embossed with the exposed brick embossing folder. So you can kind of see here, I'm trying to angle it so you can see the texture. There is like some exposed brick and then some areas where it's just kind of textured. So I embossed that piece before I left. So now I can just use my 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and we're just gonna punch out a circle. So now I've got that. So now I stamped a little low. I should have stamped my words up here, but that's okay. We can still make this work. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put this upside down on my flap. You got a little bit of fuzziness there. Okay, so, upside down. So it is currently upside down on my flap because I want to see exactly where I want to place my adhesive. Now, on my sample, I actually just taped this down flat, but I'm going to dimensionalize right now. And the reason for that is I opened up my supplies and my dimensionals are all wonky and they're going to start sticking to stuff. So I need to use a few of them so that these aren't, so they're not sticking to stuff in my container. All right, so we're just gonna, and we'll move this last one right there. There we go. Now they'll be safe to travel until the next video. Okay, so we've got 3 of those. So all I'm gonna do now is flip it upside down, or right side up, I guess, and stick it here on my flap. So there we go, we got that. And then we'll just use a couple more of those, and we'll get all the wonky dimensionals off of this sheet. There we go. Now I won't have dimensionals stuck in random places. Okay, so we'll take our cut and emboss machine and we'll stick that guy right there And then I'm going to take some rhinestones. We're going to add a few rhinestones to this project because I love bling. And so I like to incorporate some bling. Okay, so I'm going to use the larger size. Actually, I think this might be the medium size. Let me see here. So on a full sheet of rhinestones, yes, there are 3 sizes. So I'm actually using the medium size down here in the corner. Obviously, your embellishments don't have to look just like mine, but I'm just letting you know in case you're wondering what I'm using. So I'm using the medium and the small, and then I'll use another small, and I'll stick it up here by the heart. So there we go. We've got our Fun Fold flap card. Just putting all the F's in here today. Okay, and then I'll bring back my sample because you can see what I meant to do. Let me put these rhinestones. So here's my sample card that I made. And you can see I stamped a little bit higher, so that way this circle is a little bit higher. This still works. It'll still get sent to somebody, but you can see what I meant to do was stamp a little bit higher. So, no, Josh did not go to Starbucks for me, Sue. That would have been great. But he did go downstairs and get me breakfast. So, thank you, Patricia. Josh picked that out for me. He picked out my wedding ring, so it's a sapphire. Okay, so I'm going to put this camera back up for just a second, and Josh is going to come over here. He's hiding out over here on the side of the room. So, what does Josh do for work? He's crawling behind me on the floor. All right, Josh, what do you do for work? He's hiding.
I make archery targets.
Yep. He makes like 3D archery targets, like in the shape of animals and such. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I just knew the round, bullseye kind of targets, but he makes like animal shaped ones. In fact, he gave me a bear archery target for our wedding, and it says "I love you" on the side. So, Deb says, what are you doing with wood?
I make engravings, like engraving pictures, words, things like that.
So we got him a laser engraver, and he's making all sorts of signs. So that's why I was asking you guys for ideas on sayings, because Josh is getting into sign making, and we're trying to figure out, well, what do people like? What do they want? Oops. Oh yes, Kathy, I have my earrings on. I do have other pairs with me for this trip, but this was the pair I happened to grab yesterday as we were leaving. Kathy loves the wooden plaques that you engraved.
Thank you.
So, and he's not this short, in case you're wondering. There's only one chair in the room, so I'm sitting on the chair and he is on his knees right here. So, yeah, Deb, we've had a lot of people ask about scripture signs. So yesterday as we were driving here, we were talking about different Bible verses that we might put on signs. So, yeah, and he's had some custom orders already. So it's been fun to see people really like the laser engraving. So, yes, he is creative, Sue. So yeah, we both have a creative gene, if you will. So we did a craft show together last week, and we've got another one coming up in September. And so the one in September that we're doing, there's like 100,000 people that go to this craft show. And so we need lots of stuff. So we're stocking up. Okay, I think I got all the questions that were asked. Excuse me. We will be going to Starbucks after this, so. All right.
If you guys have any great ideas for the Bible verses, post that in the community page.
Yeah. Absolutely. We are open to ideas. So, yes, Deb, thank you. We are heading to see my dad and my little brother. And my little brother he's married and has 3 kids. And so I get to hang out with my nieces. I actually brought my full earring collection. I'm going to go through all my earrings and give a whole bunch of them to my nieces. So they're excited about that. I just figured I probably don't need to own like 200 pairs when I wear like the same 5 pairs. So, and then we'll watch some fireworks out there in Rapid City. But I will still be live for Coffee and a Card, and then for another Fun-Filled Friday next week. And Fun-Filled Friday will be from a hotel in Sioux Falls again. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in for Fun-Filled Friday and getting to officially meet my husband. We are looking forward to family time. I forgot to warn him that I filmed this backwards, so he's got to get used to which way to put his hands.
So confusing.
Are you able to make 3D products on your laser engraver?
For targets, laser engraver? Mm-hmm. Maybe in the future. I'm still kind of learning it.
Yeah, so it has the potential. It will cut stuff out. But yeah, he's learning. Yes, you'll definitely see him again, Sue. He'll be back.
I'll be back.
And he'll be stamping. He has told me a couple of times lately that he would like to get into stamping. So, I didn't bring enough supplies for him to stamp right now, but we will definitely be working on that. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in here for Fun-Filled Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you again next week. Oh, don't forget, post your version of today's Fun-Fold in the community group. I put a link up in the video. So post your version of this card so that you can be entered to win a prize. I posted the winner this morning from last week's Fun-Fold challenge. I love sending product out to you guys, so be sure to do that. All right, y'all, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again soon.